Waffle, waffle, waffle.
Hello and welcome to Die Rollin. I'm the ever excitable Adam, and today we're here to talk about Airecon. This is the last video we'll be talking about Airecon for a while, but I just thought I'd come back and broach the subject. My voice was pretty much gone at the end of Airecon, and it's still, as you can tell, not quite at its full state. So we went to Airecon, and by we I mean myself, Christopher and Alex. We headed up to Harrogate and had an absolute blast. By the end of it, we were absolutely shattered, but we had a fantastic time. And I thought I'd just talk about the games we played, the people we met, and the fun that was had. So I've got written down all the games we played, which takes up pretty much an entire sheet of paper, which is good. And we're going to go through all those. So without further ado, let's begin. We started our kind of gaming session off with June. Now, a lot of people came over and was like, is that June Imperium? But no, we played the original June game that the Gale Force 9 did a kind of rebrand of. And it was just fantastic fun. Alex hadn't really played before. And the same thing happened that happened last time I played this game. The traders and the Harkonnen basically teamed up and totally took out the Fremen. So yeah, I need to remember that for future games to try and keep those two guys apart. First time Alex played it, he enjoyed it, but it's not really his kind of cup of tea. And also he'd never seen he'd seen the original film, but he hasn't seen the new one, so he wasn't kind of generally knew what it was about. Wasn't really on board with it. For me and Christopher really enjoyed playing it. It was very fun getting June out to the table. I think Airecon is a perfect kind of expansion, the perfect event for that kind of thing, where you take one of those games that you really enjoy that doesn't get to the table that much, and put it to the table and get out and play with some friends. There's quite a few other people playing the original June game there as well, which was nice to see. You could buy a really nice big June playmat from Custom Patriot Games. They make some very good kind of mats and stuff, and I saw a really lovely one in there. I was tempted to pick that up. So we start off with June, which is quite a big one to kind of start off with, and then we went to Psycho Killer. Psycho Killer was a really fun game that we played last year at the con, and we were like, let's play Psycho Killer again. So we played a couple of games of that, and that was fantastic fun. You play people trying to escape from a forest with a psycho killer chasing you down. Now we had brought a couple of expansions for it, but we didn't get around to that. We just played the regular Psycho Killer. Next, let's talk about a game I was very excited to play. And I'm going to preface this with role-playing games. I love collecting them. I love playing them. Running them is something I've actually started to do and really enjoy. And these games that I have, they tend to sit on my shelf for a bit, and then, like a lot of other people who have role-playing games, they just kind of sit there and they're like nice art books. So what I tend to do now is I basically set myself a challenge. I'll kind of like get a game, and then I'll like force myself to run it. So I'll basically go, right, I'm running it this day, and it could be like a week time, and I'll get people to like commit to it. Then I'll be like, great, now I'm forced to actually learn the rules and run this thing. Which leads me on to Eat the Reich. My word, this was fantastic fun. It's one of the best role-playing games I've played in a while in terms of enjoyment factor. We were joined by two guys from Beyond Cataclysm, which is a role-playing store. They also make their own role-playing games. And yeah, these two guys came along. One of them, I think, is running a game with us at some point, so he was seeing how I was doing it and taking some pointers maybe. And they also are interested in coming on the channel at some point and running some of their role-playing games. So you might see them in the not too distant future on this show. Eat the Reich is a fantastic role-playing game where you play as Nazi-killing vampires who are coffin-dropped into occupied Paris in 1943. Your sole mission is to drink all of Adolf Hitler's blood and destabilize the Nazi war machine. It is fantastic fun. As a GM, there's not much to do, to be fair. You basically just set the scene, tell them what objective they're trying to do and what kind of threats in there, and then as each person takes a turn, they'll explain what they're going to do. They roll the dice, and then you roll the dice to see what kind of opposition they're up against. but yeah, they basically describe everything. They describe, you know, how they appear in wherever their coffin dropped into. They then describe how they use their abilities to kill all the Nazis. When they're using their dice to defend the dice that you're playing, they say how they kill your kind of troops. The only times you really narrate as a GM is when you actually manage to like wound them, I guess. Or when you have one of the bosses. When you've got one of the bosses, it's a bit more involved. You're coming up with ideas of what they're using, what kind of powers they've got. But overall, it's pretty much player-led. It also lends itself very well to convention because you can essentially, you could run this game as 3 separate gaming sessions at the 3 different sectors of Paris up to the Eiffel Tower where Hitler's Zeppelin is kind of docked. Or in a convention, you pick a couple of different kind of like scenes and then just walk through it. It was really fun. The guys really got involved in it, really enjoyed the theme of it, really enjoyed getting in sinking their teeth into the characters and the system. The actual book itself is gorgeous. It's absolutely lovely. Rowan and Decker did a fantastic job with it. And if you want to see that, don't worry, because we will be running this on the channel because it's so much fun. So expect to see that probably next month. I'm going to try and really get this on the channel sooner rather than later. But yes, so Eat the Reich, we kind of finished our Thursday night with that, and it was just great fun. Okay, so next let's talk about the first kind of new game we played that wasn't a role-playing game, and that was Buffet Boss. Buffet Boss by Origami Games, or Origami, is essentially a kind of tactile dexterity game where you have a little bowl and you have little kind of wooden fruits and food and ice cream and things like that, and you're choosing a card, you're taking the item that's on the card and stacking it up, and you're trying to get the highest stack in the game. Fun dexterity game. One of the best things about it is basically if you accidentally knock your food off, there's a 3-second rule, so you can pick it up, blow it up, and try and stack it back up, which I thought was a nice little kind of gimmick. So we managed to get a review copy of it. So my kids have done a very good unboxing videos for this, and we're going to be filming the actual gameplay at the weekend, so stay tuned for that. We also have a video of on our Instagram, I believe, where we actually of our live playthrough at the con, which I'll probably edit and put up here as well, so you can see that. But yeah, the one with the kids is going to be a bit more, yeah, better to see what's going on, a bit more explained, so we'll see. So that's Buffet Boss, great fun. Then we have to go a Sakana Stack, which is basically a kind of Uno style game where you're going through a Japanese fish market and you're trying to basically match cards and suits and stuff. It's a pretty simple game, pretty fun, first time designer. And yeah, we enjoyed playing that in the playtest zone. I was really hoping we'd do more in the playtest zone. There was Pandora Celeste. There was a couple of other games in there which looked really good, but we just didn't get around to doing it. This year, the time just went. We played lots of games, but we didn't really spend as much time as we'd hoped with the exhibitors and the playtest zone. So hopefully next year we'll do a bit better. Next, we are going to talk about another game. This is one that Christopher played. Alex and I, Alex and I will have played a different game, which I'll get to. But Christopher sat down and played War of the Worlds One More Day. This is basically set in the War of the Worlds universe. It details the very first kind of invasion of the Martians, and you are basically, as a character, trying to get through the game. It's got some lovely artwork, lovely looking game, and yeah, it's coming out at Kickstarter at some point in the not too distant future. I believe they're going to be at the UK Games Expo, so definitely check that out, and we will be covering this on the channel. And I think we're going to team up with the Offline Gamer, and maybe we'll team up and try it together. It's a solo game. There's also a co-op game. You can basically, there's only one character in it, but you can basically all team up and, you know, collectively try and get these people through, you know, survive just one more day. Or if you're into Les Mis, just one day more. So that's War of the Worlds One More Day. Didn't get to play it. Christopher absolutely loved it. And the guy who created it, Matt, is an absolutely lovely chap who came and joined in with a couple of games we played later on. You hear my voice getting croaky as we go on, so hopefully I've got a lot more to read. Hopefully it won't just completely guile me. So next, the reason this voice is the way it is is for a game of Captain Sonar that we played with K-Play Games, Board Game Good, Tribewin Games. And we also met a lovely guy called Chris who joined us for quite a few different games as the kind of days went on. There was a really good Airecon community Facebook page. You could kind of post if games are going on there, and also a not private, but a chat for just solo players who were just kind of walking around and wanted to play a game. So you could post in there and say, hey, I'm playing this game, and then people will come and find you. And that's how we met Chris. And a few times I posted in there and he'd be like, right, well, I played this game with you. I'm definitely up for this. Captain Sonar is a 2-team game where you can have up to 4 people on both sides of the both teams, and you're essentially in submarines trying to sink the other person's submarine. Each player has their own role, and whatever role you have, the person sitting opposite you has the exact same role as you. Where the nuance of this is in the fact that this is real time. You can play a turn-based mode. I prefer real time. Last time I played this on my stag do, and we got the rules completely wrong, so it wasn't especially the most balanced kind of game we played. However, this time around, everyone was on board with the rules. I'd studied them, I'd read them, I'd explained them, which is why my voice is like this. Got a loss, but it was great fun. I think that Captain Sonar lends itself very well to conventions. The only thing is you need to have a quieter room so you can actually hear everybody at the table. Or if you've got softly spoken people on your team or on the opposite team, they need to be a bit more, be aware they need to speak up a little bit more so everyone can hear. But Captain Sonar, fantastic fun, great game. John from Tribewin Games then got out a game called ITO, and essentially in this game you have got a deck of cards which are numbered 1 through to 99, I think up to 99. And you basically are given a category, so you draw one of the random cards, and it'll be like 76. You look in the little manual, so 76 is best superhero pose from lamest to coolest, and you have to also show people what it is. So then you are dealt like a card, and you look at the card, it has a number. What you've got to do is basically 0 would be lame, 99 would be cool, and you have to have a look at this number and figure out where that number would fit on there. So if this is number 99, you would try and do the coolest pose you could. You put it face down. You can never tell people what the number is, but you have a look at it. You do whatever you're supposed to do. I mean, you put it down. And then everyone else, depending on what you put, they try to gauge if their thing is higher or lower than what you've done. It's quite an interesting game. Reminded me a bit of the mind, just because you have to do things in chronological order without really communicating. But yeah, Ito was fantastic. I'd definitely try and pick up a copy of this. It was good. John from Tribewin Games had the right idea. He brought smaller games which were easy to pick up and easy to teach and fun. Whereas I brought quite a lot of big games, but still had a laugh. Next, we played Cash and Guns. I picked this up at Christmas for my family. We had a good time of it. Didn't use the rolls this time around because with some like-minded game dons, I was like, yeah, let's get the rolls out and see how they work. And yeah, it worked out pretty well. John from Tribewin Games was taken out in the second round and just had to sit there whilst we played for another 6 rounds, which is a bit of a shame. But overall, really fun game. You are essentially trying to claim money from a kind of a pile of money in the center of the table, and you're pointing foam guns at people and either hitting them or missing them, or you're just trying to get as much money as possible. It's very good. Player elimination isn't spectacular in a game, but that particular game is quite fun and easy to pick up. So next we're going to talk about The Stifling Dark. The Stifling Dark we filmed on the channel. I'm not especially happy with the video because I feel like you need to have a bit more of a angle on the table to see, really see what's going on. It's a fantastic game where one person plays the killer or the adversary and everyone else plays the kind of paranormal investigators, trying to get evidence that this paranormal entity exists. And then once they find out it exists, they're trying to either flee or they're trying to confront this thing head on. It's worth noting we've played this game 3 to 4 times. The characters who are not the adversary never won. So yeah, either we're terrible at it, we're playing it wrong, or Christopher's amazing at it, or it's very hard. But overall, always enjoy it. It's a really fun game. So that was good. Next, we're going to talk about the score. The score always comes highly recommended by myself if you want to play a narrative, cooperative narrative game. The score is fantastic. It is a cooperative game where you are trying to narrate a heist movie. Always recommend giving this a go. It's so much fun. We filmed a video of it for the channel, which will be going up at some point, hopefully this month, just depending on when we get around to the edits. But yeah, keep an eye out for that. And if you are looking for a cooperative game, if you like Ocean's 11 or any kind of heist movie, definitely look out for it. It's so good. That's The Score by Tin Man Games. Next, Stomp the Plank. Stomp the Plank is a game that Will from our channel plays with his girlfriend, I believe, and they absolutely love it. That's not a euphemism, by the way. So Stomp the Plank is, you play as elephants on a pirate ship. There are several planks which are magnetized, and you are drawing cards and basically trying to be the last elephant standing. The more kind of cards you draw, the more weights you are putting on everybody else's planks. However, if you get two of the same symbol on these cards you're drawing out, then you actually move forward a space, and the further forward you are, the more chances are you are going to walk the plank and, well, just end up swimming with the fishes. But a fantastic game, really enjoyed it, and highly recommend checking out. If you've got young kids, it'd be perfect. But apparently they were saying at the store that actually they sell more of them to just adults than they do kids, parents with kids even. So you Stomp the Plank, really fun. Then we're going to talk about Heroes of the Shire. So Heroes of the Shire is just a very well done PvP game. Now this particular game comes in a few modes. There's a PvP mode, there is a 1v many, and there is a fully cooperative mode. We only played the PvP mode, where you basically have, and we played four of us. There was me, Christopher, and Alex, and Chloe, who was the designer's girlfriend, showing us how to play the game. We all had a particular character, had their own little board, and their own little kind of skill tree. What happens is basically you're going to be casting spells, you're going to be putting dice on your spells as a countdown track, and generally just messing around with the other team, trying to reduce their hit points to 0. It was pretty close. There's a very good kind of initiative track in there as well. The initiative can kind of change, and me and Christopher were playing on the same team. We only won because I was knocked out, but Christopher was able to increase his speed enough to actually, on the very last round, go before Chloe and then end up killing her. So it was pretty close, and a really fun game. It reminded me of Dice Throne, but only in aesthetics, I think, because everything else was completely different. But highly recommend checking out. And that's just a PvP. There's a whole whole hex crawl element to it as well, which just looks so cool, and loads of additional things like miniatures and stuff you can get for the game. It just looked amazing. So yeah, highly recommend checking out Heroes of the Shire, because it is definitely one to watch. The artwork's fantastic. The game itself is really well constructed. I can't recommend it enough. It was amazing. Next, Heat. So we played Heat when we were there. Heat is always enjoyable. We played with the offline gamer. There was 7 of us in the end, because Chris, who joined us for very different games, he joined us in it, and yeah, it was just amazing because I won. But no, it was really fun playing it at a convention, and we played it, as far as I'm aware, with all the rules correct. We were, making sure we're going past cars. We didn't have any AI to worry about. But overall, it's just a really fun game. So yeah, it was nice to introduce that to the offline gamer, and Chris, who's new to it as well, I believe. And yeah, we always enjoy playing it. Then we played a bit of an older one, All Manner of Evil. This is a game that I've had for some time. I used to play it on my lunch breaks at my old work. You essentially are basically stealing like artifacts and relics from H.P. Lovecraft's home, and as you go in there, you realise that actually all the stuff he wrote about was true, and you're slowly going insane. The winner is the person who has the most, the highest value in artifacts and lowest madness at the end of the game. always has a bit of taste in my mouth when you have a secret roll card in this game, and both the games we played of it, my secret roll changed, and that meant I couldn't win anymore. So it was really frustrating. But overall, it's a fun game. Just yeah, you've got to go in with not really caring. Excuse me. This is what Airecon does to you. I am shattered, but Wednesday waffles have to happen, guys. I promised myself I'd do them. So next, let's talk about a big one. So Asmodee were doing demos of Star Wars Unlimited. Star Wars Unlimited, the new kind of card game, trading card game by Asmodee. So this is like Magic the Gathering, like Lorcana. And the biggest thing I'd heard about this so far is people didn't like the artwork. They were just like, what is going on? Whereas the Star Wars deck builder game, the artwork in that is lovely. So this game, you have a hero, like a leader, and you have a base, and you're basically trying to destroy the other person's base. There's two sides to like kind of battle. You've got like a space and you've got a ground. Obviously the space and the ground can't fight each other, but space and ground can. You are deploying, you're out of your hand of cards, you are basically discarding some as resources. So one every round as resource, then tapping those resources to use the cards in your hands to do stuff. It's all about timing. You can change the initiative by passing to grab that initiative. It's really good. So there was lots of demos of this. It was very busy. Christopher was adamant we were going to try out the Star Wars Unlimited card game at the beginners tournament they were doing. So I was like, sure, let's go along. We went along to this with no prior knowledge of how to play the game because it said beginners welcome. When we got there, it seemed beginners weren't welcome because we were complete newcomers. I think that's where we went wrong. We thought we were beginners, where in fact a beginner is somebody who's at least had a little bit of a little exposure to it, whereas we were complete newcomers. However, Magic the Gathering, played tons of that as a kid, and if you've got any knowledge of Magic the Gathering, you can easily play this. Same as Lorcana. They're using the same kind of terminology. Well, it's the same thing, but a different word for it. So instead of summoning sickness, they come in exhausted. Instead of a lot of things like trample, it's like ambush, or loads of different keywords, different names, but essentially the same mechanics. Overall, though, it was really fun. The tournament itself, we were basically put off to one side where we were taught the game, and the other people who had come to the tournament were actually just playing each other. You then were given like a deck of cards, like loads of booster packs, shuffle them together. Not shuffle them, open them up, you build a deck, and then you can play each other. Anytime you won a game, you could go up to the stall and say, I won a game, and they'd give you 15 more cards to play with. So it's a pretty good way to like get people into the game, get people talking about the game, and just like getting people some free cards they could then go out and kind of show off to people. So yeah, it was really good fun. I had to resist, just buying loads of it because it's one of those things. Collectible card games are cardboard crack. You just get hooked on them. It's very easy to spend a ton of money on these things. But luckily, I avoided it. But yeah, it was fun, and I'm looking forward to showing you guys on the channel how it works and just generally playing it because it's pretty good. So next is My Gold Mine. This is another game that John from Triumph got out. It was really good fun. You essentially are, and I think Alex picked it up from the Airecon as well. So you're essentially like dwarves in a mine, the dragon is coming, and it's a risk and reward kind of thing. You can basically stay around and try and get gold, or you can try and exit. After 3 rounds, the person with the most gold at the end of the game wins. And it's just simple, easy fun, lovely aesthetics to it, really easy to teach, really easy to learn. It was a fun game. So next would be Dead by Daylight. So Dead by Daylight, we brought this with us. For once, I wasn't the killer. We had Chris once again come along, and he played Legion. So we tried to defeat the Legion. We did not. The Legion ended up winning, but it was pretty good because it was a very close match. We had already got all of the generators before he really came into his own and managed to like take us out. So it was very close, but just great fun, really. Then we had Can't Go by Triumph Games. So I didn't play this game. I played it a ton of times before. So much fun, where you're basically doing poos and scoring them. yeah, really interesting theme, lovely artwork, and a really nice kind of mechanics and stuff. Always enjoy seeing that in action. And the guys, yeah, they hadn't played it before, excuse me, Airecon. But they really enjoyed it, so that was fun. It was lovely seeing John's game out on a table somewhere. So whilst Krista was playing War of the Worlds one more day, Alex and I sat down to play Sky Team. Sky Team, where one of you is the pilot, one of you is the co-pilot, and you're trying to land a plane. I heard lots of good things about it. It was okay. Alex wasn't really fussed at it at all. And I think it did help because the guy who was teaching it basically came along, said, well, these things do this, this does this, this does this. Right, I'll leave you to it. And then he kind of went off and started talking to his mates, and we just kind of left there. And I had some questions, but I didn't feel like I could ask the guy because he was just off talking to his mates. Whereas in other demos I've had, they'll teach you how to play some. They'll probably play around with you to see if you got the mechanics, and they'll kind of back off and be on hand if you need help. But I didn't really feel we had any support there. But we took it as a win because we did manage to land the plane. Whether we did it rightly or wrongly, I don't know. But we're taking that as a win. Sky Team, it was okay. I probably wouldn't pick it up. I might play it again at like a board game cafe with my partner. But yeah, not in a mad rush to play it. However, what I was in a mad rush to play, and one of the biggest things we did at the convention, was Shadows of Brimstone. So a while ago, I decided I was going to run Shadows of Brimstone at Airecon, and I reached out to you lovely people to see if anybody was going to be coming to Airecon, so I could basically know numbers so I could run a game. We ended up getting 6 people along, not including me, so I was running the game by just kind of facilitating it by reading out some of the cards and placing the monsters and stuff, and kind of being a bit more narrative with it, I guess. I created a complete new adventure where essentially the characters all had a lucky jade coin, which was cursed, and they had to go into the forge that was in the mines to melt it. Every time they failed the Hold Back the Darkness roll, they would get a mutation. Well, sorry, they'd get corruption, a D8 corruption, which they could save. And once they obviously had too much corruption, they got a mutation. By the end of it, these guys had, the gunslinger had 4 heads. There was multiple tails on people. It was pure madness. It was great. We had the Nick, who was playing our bandito. His eyes closed, like was sealed shut. He then got a third eye, and then his eyes went on eye stalks. So you can just imagine what that bandito would have looked like by the end. The nicest thing about it was playing with Laura, who watches the channel, and Nick and his son Finn. Finn was amazing. He was telling me all the rules I was getting wrong in Shadows of Brimstone, which was fantastic, because if you see my Shadows of Brimstone stuff, there's a lot to remember, and this kid's really switched on. So it was he was able to kind of help us with some of the rules there. He also brought along his own miniatures he painted, which were far better than mine. So I'm going to bid all my Shadows of Brimstone miniatures, I think. But overall, it was such a great time. Lovely meeting people. The adventure, which I thought would take about 2 hours, 4 hours, but everyone was having a great time with it. It was very thematic, lovely to play, and it just rounded off Airecon nicely. We basically played that, and then we had 20 minutes at exhibit hall, and then we went home because it was just like, we are shattered at this point. I think next year, if I do go along, we'll probably do things a little bit differently, or we'll probably split up. Something we could have done is maybe had Christopher go off and play role-playing games, Alex go and do some other bits, and me do one thing and just divide and conquer. That way we would have had a bit more kind of coverage over the very different elements. So we didn't really do much of the playtesting. We did see a lot of the exhibitors, and we do have some videos on our YouTube of me walking around. The sound wasn't great on the videos. I did used to have a microphone for my iPhone, which is what I used to film. However, the iPhone's kind of on the way out, and last time I had an iPhone on the way out, the microphone, which seemed to work, didn't, and I lost loads of footage for Star Saga because the sound wasn't there, and I couldn't reset, so that was frustrating. So yes, so we don't have a microphone on this this old camera, but maybe I should try and sort it out. Anyway, my voice is really hurting at this point, so I'm going to kind of wrap this up pretty quickly. Overall, Airecon was great. It was very tiring. It's different to the UK Games Expo in the fact that UK Games Expo has a very short kind of, well, not short, it's a day. You're there from, I think, 10 till 6. Then if you're lucky, you can get into one of the rooms for the open gaming. If you're not so lucky, then you can't, and you just kind of hovering, hoping there's space for a game somewhere. Whereas Airecon is open from 10 till 1:30. And when you're going to one of these things and you are basically representing a YouTube channel, then it's kind of different when you're going there just to enjoy yourself. You've got to be on, you've got to be like talking to people, you've got to be like making friends and stuff. Well, you haven't got making friends, but you know, you're trying to make friends and meet people and see some Instagrammers you spoke to before. And in no way is that a bad thing. It's a first world problems. It's absolutely lovely. I had such a good time coming on as press this. But it's very tiring when you're there for a very long time. So like I say, we'd probably do things a little bit differently next year. But overall, cannot wait for Airecon again. It was so much fun. This is becoming more of a favourite than the UK Games Expo, mainly because it's more about playing games and socialising than the UK Games Expo, which is more about selling you stuff and showing off the newest things. So it was great. It was really fun. Still don't know what's behind the little door at Airecon, but maybe one day they'll tell us. Well, also, I wanted to kind of point out there's a few games that we actually would really like to kind of give a shout out to. So Christopher, myself and Alex all picked our own game from the con, which we really enjoyed. And I asked them if they had time, if they could do a little video for this. I don't believe Alex has done it yet. He hasn't sent it to me. So if he has, then I will insert it right about now. If he hasn't, I'll just say what it was. His favourite game was Stomp the Plank. He loved the fact that it was pretty easy to pick up. Anyone could enjoy playing it. Lovely theme. He loves anything pirates. And it was just a joy to play, really. It was really fun. And there's some lovely pictures of us on our Instagram of us doing that, as well as a TikTok of the whole kind of, all the photos we got, which were fun. Whereas I do know that Christopher has actually, that Stomp the Plank is Alex's pick of the Airecon. He absolutely loved it. It's his game of Airecon 2024. Whereas Christopher, let's just get him on. Here's Christopher with his. Hello, Christopher.
Hello, I'm the ever-curious Christopher, and I've just attended my first Airecon. And what a convention it was. I absolutely loved it. There's lots of games to play, but I have to say my favourite game of the entire convention had to be War of the Worlds. This is a deck builder game. It's primarily a solo deck builder game, but it lends itself to having a cooperative team play element to it. Now this is yet to be released. It's going to be put out on Kickstarter in late September.
Okay, well, tell me more about it.
You play as a single character going through London in the 1800s as the Martians invade. And you go through one of 6 storylines. And once you get to the end of that storyline, you'll then have to survive just that little bit further and outwait the demise of the Martians.
Oh, great way to go. The demise of the Martians. What a spoiler.
Spoilers? This novel is over 100 years old. If you've not read it or not seen a film adaptation of it to this date, shame on you.
Well, I guess that tells me. So yes, Christopher's was, of course, War of the Worlds, One More Day, which, you should definitely check out if you like the theme of War of the Worlds, and the guy running it is absolutely lovely. We should be covering with the Offline Gamer at some point in the not too distant future, so that should also be on the channel, so keep an eye out for that. And finally, mine. So mine has got to be Heroes of the Shire. Heroes of the Shire was so much fun. It was an intuitive design. You could tell that this guy had a background in design because it was so well done. It was very intuitive. It was really easy to pick up, and all the characters seemed balanced. We were playing with 3 characters plus the Kickstarter Shield Maiden character, and all of them, it was very clear they had been play tested and balanced very well. It was very close the entire time, and I could just see this getting hit the table a lot, especially the kind of player versus environment kind of mode, the kind of campaign which was sitting behind us. That looked great. A little hex crawl. The artwork's fantastic. The gameplay, just the combat was just so well done. I cannot wait to see the rest of this game. And hopefully we'll get that on the channel at some point, because it was just, yeah, of everything I played there and everything I saw, I was like, that was fantastic. But so that's my game that's my pick of Airecon. Christopher's pick of Airecon is War of the Worlds, One More Day, and Alex's will stop the plank. However, one other thing we're going to shout out for was Eat the Reich. Eat the Reich was so much fun. It was a lovely, gory exercise. It felt like an exploitation movie, but in a good way. It was just so much fun, and I can't wait to share it with you guys here. It's obviously has got a little warning there, trigger warning, because it is about Nazi Germany. But there's lots in the book that talks about what is safe and what's not safe to say, and what's cool and not cool to do. So when we do our video for this, it will be, it should be a state where you're going to hear some gory kind of descriptions, but nothing that offends people, hopefully. But yeah, so keep an eye out for that. And what else to say? Well, I'll be on the Offline Gamers podcast soon to talk about Airecon, which is pretty good. Hopefully my voice would have recovered by that point. And you can meet us at the UK Games Expo. I'm going to be there for the entirety. Alex, I think, might be there for the press evening. And Christopher's going to be there, I believe, for the duration. So if you do see us there, come over and say hi. What else can I say about what's coming up this month? So we have partnered up with Draco Ideas to bring you Skull Tales again. So we already filmed a bit of Skull Tales on the channel, and we had other things we needed to get into. We're now going back to Skull Tales. We are going to be covering as much as we can of that for you. There's not many people in the UK who have covered it. GameFound, I think a couple of videos of ours are already on GameFound. They sent us a new version of the second edition because they've got a new print run coming out. So we're going to be sitting down with that. We're going to be relearning that and showing you guys that in its entirety. I believe the miniatures are going to be a bit nicer than the ones that I had, because I'd had the original edition miniatures. But yeah, there'll be an unboxing for that on the channel not too soon. Not too far away. But yes, I'm going to have to paint these things up, so expect to see maybe some videos on how to paint these things. Lots on the Instagram on this as well. But we're going to really do a big drive for Skull Tales 2nd Edition. Skull Tales 2nd Edition, if you've not seen any of the videos, it's unlike any game out there. The issue we have found with the second edition was the rules weren't exactly clear. They'd then gone away and made new rule sets, which they've included in this new edition. So I'm hoping that these new rule sets really iron out some of the creases in it, because the game, it's a very interesting idea. It's a dungeon crawler pirate game where you are going to be leveling up your characters as the game goes through. There's a narrative in there. Each of the adventures, like I've played this and got through about half the adventures in the book, and some of them are really fun, had some really interesting ideas. The dungeon crawl part of it, you're on islands and towns, villages, temples, you're going around, you're shooting bad guys and looting their corpses. The voyage phase, which was, in the original version, was quite simplistic but fun. There's a lot, they put a lot of time and energy into the voyage phase. There's now a ship board. You position your people around the ship, and depending on where you are, you do certain things. You're better at certain things. You can board and have fighting actions on there. You can take out ships. To be fair, the voyage phase could be a complete own game in its own right, to be fair. And then finally you have the town phase. The first game's town phase was basically just like a bit in the back of the book. Then when they move over to Skull Tales Full Sail, they actually brought in a town phase where there was a lot more meat to it. And yeah, the town phase is a lot better. When you first go into the town phase, not much to do because you don't have much money. But once you've got a bit of money, there's a lot more to do. So our plan is we're going to be bringing you a lot more of Skull Tales Full Sail on the way up to their Kickstarter. So keep an eye out for that on the channel. We're going to be spending a lot of time doing stuff for that. Of course, Shadows of Brimstone, we'll still be doing that. I've now put everything up on the channel which we filmed for Shadows of Brimstone, so I need to get back to the table with that, which I'll probably try and do tomorrow night. Do some Tradarian Strike Team for you guys. If you'd also like to see our the kind of mission that I'd written for Airecon, if you like to see that in action, let me know in the comments below, and I will film that, and I can make that available for anybody who wants to try it out. It was pretty fun. What else? Well, we've got Pirates of Skydock. We have got Buffet Boss, which we're going to put on the channel. We did film another Dead by Daylight with the Death Slinger, so that should be up as soon as we've got that edited. But yeah, we've just got quite a few fun, exciting things, and hopefully Eat the Reich will get that up this month or next month. So yeah, stay tuned to Die Rolling for all your board game and role-playing needs. And if there is something you'd love to see us cover more of, or we've covered, and you'd like to see some, you'd like to see more of that game or some different bits of that game, then yeah, let us know in the comments below. Anyway, I've been very excited about it. My voice is pretty much gone, so I'm going to leave it there, and hope you have a lovely Wednesday, what is left of it. Until next time, guys, stay safe or die rolling.